From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check the Democrats still want you to have and why you'll likely get more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon that has $3.5 trillion of checks for the American people. I'll go over what other sums of money are in there for you. And then we cut to the vote, the bills, everything you need to know about next week. This week, there's going to be a lot of things going on. I'm going to go over what's happening on Tuesday, what's happening on Wednesday, what happened over the weekend, and what you need to know. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. This is the replacement for SS200. There's a big lift, and Jay Powell spoke about that inflation rate last week. I have all the details as well. And then we turn to the tens of thousands of dollars that viewers continue to get. It's your day to get it as well. Nisi got $23,000, and you can do it as well. Art Sullivan, 3 items. Let's get those money, and we're going to see it all in this video. It's a big afternoon. It's a big day. I'm excited for you. The weather is cooling down. Sirloin has been eating the grass. Everything is cleared away. All we need is the vote. And here we go. It's Afternoons LA. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? I am so excited for you. I'm excited for you because the weather's better. And I'm excited for you because the next 14 days is going to be a ball of excitement. How's the weather where you are? Currently, it cooled down in LA, so the nights are gorgeous. Onshore breeze here in Santa Monica, California from the surf, and nights are cool. Daytime, not too strong. Sun very bright, though. Ooh, boy, need some sunblock. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today, we have so much breaking news. We're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks from those Democrats. We're going to go over the recon and the big agreement reached about the recon and why Americans are going to see fortunes in their pockets. And then we go to the vote, everything that's getting so exciting, as a major vote is called on Tuesday, but I'll explain which it is. And then I'll go over the excitement of these final 14 days. It's getting wonderful. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. And this is the benefits that SSI, all the way to my veterans, have been waiting for since the presidential campaign. I'll go over all the exciting details and what Jay Powell said about that as well. And then we cut to the 10, 15, 20, $25,000 that viewers are getting from my channel. That's been getting people $25 million in last year, $250,000 in the fall, and getting them hundreds of thousands of dollars weekly on this channel right now. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel here in the United States. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is a new Evenings LA, followed by a new Overnight's Crypto, and then Sirloin. Move out of the way. He's eating the grass. He's ready to come back. He's coming up at 8 o'clock. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. 400,000 subscribers in 1 year. Next up, 1 million. Also, like this video. 3,000 likes. This is the only channel that has been helping people, not helping itself, since day one. The family of people helping one another. Also, like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check, starting right now with the first of our 3 parts of this update. The first part is those monthly stimulus checks. Let's compare House versus Senate. And here you go. Senate versus House. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. Notice that language, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate, July to December. Then House monthly, $1,000 after first month. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Well, things have changed. Today, yesterday. Last weekend was the first few days of LA putting its masks back on. LA County, which always was first on doing everything, first on putting the masks on in March of last year, first on starting to suggest the masks would go back on a week ago, put them back on mandatory for vaccinated people, signaling the pandemic's not over. Warren Buffett says the pandemic's not over. Even GOP leaders on Capitol Hill, when asking Jay Powell about interest rates this week, said the pandemic's not over. So we initially thought that the House bill would only give us potentially just 1 year of checks, which would be just $13,000. But now with the pandemic clearly not over, the numbers staggering. 50 states showing an increase of big percentages over the weekend for new cases. That would suggest the pandemic is not over. Obviously, House would provide more than $13,000, which would compare to this a lot more. Jump in the live chat and vote House or Senate, House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Vote House or Senate, House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from. Boy, I'm not going to go into too much data about COVID and statistics, but you know, we're back in the pandemic. We never left. So who gets this forced stimulus check? The Democrats represent that if you got a third, you're going to get a fourth. Yes, congratulations. Single individual, $75,000 less. Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less. Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check. Just double it. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats want you to have a stimulus check as well, whether you are on SSI, SSDI, VA, railroad benefits, or SSA, or multiple benefits. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The forced stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, including seniors, adult dependents, everyone. Wonderful news there. And the forced stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. It's not a waivable check. So if you see the check at the casino tonight, watching sirloin eat the grouse outside, and you wonder, hey, check, what are you doing? You're watching sirloin? And then you notice the check has an extra 2 drinks and 2 hands. 2 drinks, you're double fisting it, sir, Mr. Check. And then the check starts going like that and sort of falling into the grass. The check is not impersonating a real housewife. It's just a waivable check. No, it's not a waivable check. It's a wavy check. Just a few too many casino specials. So there you go. The Democrats represent you would get a forced stimulus check in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August. But in the third part of this video, we'll go over the exciting news about that vote next week, which is so interesting. We'll go over the bills, everything you need to know across the board. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the $3.5 trillion that is in the forced stimulus recon for you. Yes, $3.5 trillion. Now, Afternoons Lalate is a chat in which it's open to non-members as well. So I do ask that you respect my members when you're in the live chat and talk in a respectful tone. If you don't, or you bring in false narratives, you will not be allowed to continue to chat. All right, let's cut into the exciting preview of the second half of this video, which is fist stimulus. Fist stimulus raises your benefits up across the board. And this is the relief that Americans have been wanting. They were promised during the campaign trail. This is my SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, seniors, veterans, SSA. Well, they're going to raise your benefits up this fall, and I'm going to go over how much that lift could be based upon the new benchmark of inflation, which Jay Powell gave us up an update for just days ago. But first, let's get some money. That's what we do on this channel. If you have gotten any money from this channel recently, jump in the live chat right now. The numbers you have been doing are so overwhelming. If you got a rent, post it right now. If you got utilities, post it right now. If you got in SNAP, post it right now. When I was starting to record videos about the rent for this last few weeks, I said $5,000 for rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. Viewers did not get $5,000. They got $10, $12, $15,000, and in the case of some viewers, over $20,000, like Nisi, just in rent. When I said for utilities, I can get you $300 for utilities, viewers were getting $3,000 all last week. When I talked about SNAP and I said, hey, I can get you $5,000 to $6,000, I now have viewers getting over $10,000 routinely, like John for his family. So what's going on? What's going on is you are killing it. If you're new to this channel, this is what I do. In spring of last year, there was an EID grant, an EID loan. And I launched this channel not to track it because it wasn't coming. I launched this channel to get it because viewers were not getting it. And I got viewers $25 million of it. In fall of 2020, second stimulus was not yet coming. There was no second stimulus check to track. So what I got viewers $250,000 for rent while waiting for second stimulus. Viewers like Tyrone got $15,000 for his channel for his family of 4 in Boston. I got hundreds of thousands of viewers money from December all the way to March while we were waiting for second stimulus. And now, as we're waiting for fourth stimulus, which has $3.5 trillion in there for you, I'm doing the same thing. And you are the big difference. This time, you're doing massive numbers. So get a pen and paper ready because we're going to go over all those big numbers right now. I'm going to show you how you can get rent, utilities, homeowners assistance, homeowners utilities, and mortgage assistance right now. They are available for you. And when third stimulus was passed with a $1,400 stimulus check, I said, yeah, $1,400 stimulus check, we're not going to track it. I'm going to get you $14,000. Now I'm getting viewers $24,000. So get that pen and paper ready, and here we go. You can reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords are really critical, viewers tell me. The keywords you got to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or muddled pink. There is no muddled pink. I'm so sorry. It's just a beautiful shade of pink. There's nothing muddling about it. There you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of the money is Snap. If you got rent, post in the live chat right now. Let's now go to Snap. If you got Snap, post it on an annualized basis in the live chat right now. John got $12,000 for Snap. Just incredible. Gail got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it for herself. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. What is Snap? It's a fortune. Snap is money for food. It comes from the Department of Agriculture. In Hawaii, it pays upwards of $14,000 to $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump, that extended everyone's benefits nationally between now and December. So go get it. You reach out to Department of Agriculture to get it. Wow, you're killing it. We're killing it. We're only 12 minutes in this video, and we've gotten $15,000, $16,000 for Snap, $5,000 at least for rent. Let's go to the next pot of the money. It's the money coming back from your states. Viewers have been getting $3,000 and $5,000 for it, and this money is incredible. It is the overpayment due to computer error coming back from your states as ordered by the federal government. Where direct deposit, when reach out to your state and say, hey, state, where is that check due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? Maybe a computer from the current century. And finally, the last pot of the money is the refund check. We have some breaking news about that. Now, Margaret tells us she got hers, and Cog got his, and also Michael got his. But IRS has an update for those of you who haven't. The latest round went out with a new set of direct deposits on July 14th. Mail checks went out on July 16th. The average check this time is $1,265. Wow, wonderful. And there'll be a round of check every week going on all throughout the summer. Where, when, and how, let's go over the details. First, let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, when? Go to irs.gov. Oh, direct deposit or mail check. When? Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. 70% of the time, it works. It'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff you don't want to know. It'll reveal stuff you don't want other people to see. It'll reveal the tax return you file. It'll reveal the taxes you pay. It'll reveal who did Mitch sing as his song when he was on Star Search? Yeah, the visual is just, yeah. And it'll reveal the tax return check you'll be getting. Yeah, Mitch on Star Search. I just can't imagine. And can we top that? We can. With the double jeopardy round of Mitch on. No, with the second part of your first stimulus check update of 2021 starting right now. So here we go. The recon is now passable, and the recon, which has your money, will be giving Americans like you $3.5 trillion. Let me back up and say something very clear, because it's important to understand when you're looking at these stimulus packages, just as you've already seen earlier in this video. that there's fortunes of money in each stimulus package for a person. In the second stimulus package, there was a $600 stimulus check. But viewers of this channel, I said I was going to get you $6,000. They got over $15,000 from the second stimulus because of this channel. In third stimulus, there was a $14 stimulus check, but I said I'm going to get you $14,000 or more. Viewers are getting $14,000 or more. Well, now, the fourth stimulus will have $3.5 trillion of checks for you. They're going to have a lot of different subject matters. There's fortunes for seniors. That's coming up later in this video. There's fortunes for a lot of workers, and there's a fortune for medicine as well, like prescription medicine. So there's a lot of money in fourth stimulus. But this agreement on the price tag was one of the major achievements of the last few days. So let's go over where we are right now. The recon was originally this enormous monstrosity that had roads and bridges in there, but it was not passable because it had roads and bridges in there. Nancy and Chuck and the president, Jalapal, pulled the Democratic caucus, said, would you vote in favor of it with those roads and bridges in there? No, take them out. And so about 3 weeks ago, they took roads and bridges out and they shrunk the recon, putting roads and bridges somewhere else, which is in the bipartisan. That bipartisan has its own name of bipartisan, but it's very important as we go into the afternoon's show right now for you to understand what these words are. Next Tuesday, and this is why sometimes I come in a little bit heavy. I'm going to come in heavy right now. You need to know these names. If you do not know these names and just want to say where my check is, you're going to get so confused by Tuesday, because Tuesday we'll have a vote and it won't be on your thing, and you'll think it will be your thing. And if you are slightly informed of the subject matter, you'll still get confused because broadcast media is using multiple different names for the same thing. So here we go. Your money is the recon, also called reconciliation, also called budget bill or fourth stimulus. I don't use the word budget bill too much on this channel, but that's a common word that they use in print media. The price tag, $3.5 trillion, so you recognize it by the price tag. And people usually quote in articles about the recon, Bernie Sanders. The bipartisan, also called the infrastructure, also called roads and bridges. Smaller price tag, $1.5 trillion. And people quoted in the article about this are Mitt Romney, Kristen Sinema. Also, here's a new thing for Afternoons LA. Next week, you will see a Congressional Budget Office report. It's called CBO. It'll be about the bipartisan. Why am I bringing that up? It's going to be a big issue of broadcast news coverage next week. So it's, again, not your recon. You have to keep these things separate. If you do not keep them separate, it'll get very, very confusing. And that's because we have two things going on at the same time. Why do we have two things going on at the same time? Because this is how they got the recon done. A conservative publication had a wonderful op-ed, and the op-ed explained what I reported, that by putting the roads and bridges into the bipartisan, it made the recon now passable. So the recon, let me pause up. The recon has now passed for the purpose of the price tag only. I'm going to explain that in a second. This is huge. So this article was written before the price tag was passed. The higher the price tag was for the recon, the harder it was to pass. There you go. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put it into the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon shrunk. There you go. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry to set you up, Mitch. Now here's how the life of this legislation has changed in just 1 week. A week ago, Mitch didn't want it. And a week ago, Mitch felt like he was set up. A week ago, Mitch was trying to derail it. Now Mitch is blessing it. Now the Republicans adore it. So here's what you need to know. I'm going to go over more later in the third part of this video. But we have a passage of the price tag of the recon. $3.5 trillion. They don't do it by vote. The way they do it is they pull all the Democratic caucus members from the Senate, all the Senate Democrats, into a room and say, hey, what price tag do you want? And they have agreed upon that price tag. So all they have to do left is vote on the bill, which basically is a discussion of what items and what prices. Now, they got exactly what they wanted. Bernie Sanders originally went into the room, I'm going to go over that later in this video, asking for $6 trillion. And he's ecstatic, he says, with 3.5, because he says he gets the same thing just for less number of years. The progressives like Bernie were meeting with the president daily, the Progressive Caucus I have been reporting, before getting this price tag agreement. And Representative Ilhan Omar, before this price tag agreement, said that we have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, the recon go as big as we want it. Well, it did. They got 3.5 trillion. And Representative Richie Torres, Democrat of New York, who's also a progressive, said I have refused to vote for any bipartisan unless it's linked to a larger recon to include his housing, and he got that in there as well. So they got what they wanted. Everyone had wanted this enormous sum of money with a huge price tag in the recon, but not as huge as it was before with roads and bridges, and they got it. How are they able to do it? Because they were protecting the recon. Because everything in there is checks and checks and checks for you. $3.5 trillion of checks for you, of progressive priorities. As Brian Schatz said, the White House considers the progressive priorities in there their own progressive priorities. And Jalapal also confirmed that she had been protecting it. So let's go over what a recon is, how it gets written, how it gets voted on, and what is in there for you. All right, first, a recon is a bill. It actually has two parts. There's the procedural and the substantive, but I usually just talk about the substance because no one cares about the procedure. It's written for Democrats, by Democrats, to be passed by Democrats. The GOP is not involved in the writing, and all they'll do is vote against it and they'll lose. So who writes it? It's written in the subcommittees of the House. In the House subcommittees, they're delegated certain subjects under the Constitution. And when they're given a bill, they do those subjects. House Ways and Means subcommittees are responsible for stimulus checks. They're also responsible for unemployment benefits. And those are the items that they write on. They wrote the third stimulus check, and they represent, you're going to see in a second, that they're putting monthly stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus recon. Wow. Okay, so when they're writing, do they have to show us what they're writing? No. Under the Constitution, there's no requirement of transparency. Some people will wonder, what have you written? What have you not written? What have you voted? What have you not voted? Under the Constitution, there is no requirement of transparency. So they don't have to show you what they've written, what they've not written, or what they've voted on, or what they've not voted on. Let's say there's 10 subcommittees writing 10 pages for what would ultimately become a bill. When they're done, they send those 10 pages up to either Chuck or Nancy. If it's Chuck, it puts an S on it for Senate. Combines those 10 pages, and there you go. 100 pages, that's a bill. Broadcast media is reporting the same thing I'm reporting, which is basically we don't see what's in the recon because they won't show us. It's much like a pop singer with their album. They don't want to show you or release to you a preview of the tracks before they debut it because this is a big event. This is a big event. The president wants to show a big win, so he doesn't want to show you what's in the recon until it's actually there. They also don't want to jinx anything, of course. So it's important for you to say, first of all, not to say, first of all, I haven't heard anything. Not a time and place for that type of negativity, not a time and place for that false information either, because no one's heard what's in the recon. You won't hear. Now, here's what's important for you to know. You have been confirmed by the Democratic senators that you are getting $3.5 trillion of checks across the board on various subject matters. And if you've been with me on second stimulus, if you've been with me on third stimulus, every time that there's fortunes of checks, there is checks of every subject matter. You're going to see later in this video, I'm going to go over some of the items, and they are covering nearly everyone. Seniors, children, workers, medicine, they're covering it all. So everyone is going to get some cut of that $3.5 trillion. That's before we even get to the discussion of stimulus checks on top of that. So in essence, you're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. We just have to see on what subject matters and how it goes. So how do we get to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot from Jalapal, who had written Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote. And Chuck is now calling the vote. But which vote? I'll explain that later. And that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who among the 100 plus, yes, 100, who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, can we top that? We can. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, yes, that one I just went over, wrote the president a letter recently saying, we're putting, Mr. President, monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus recon. Wow. Now that's wonderful news. Let's keep them to their promise. Remember, people change promises. Let's keep them to their promise. It's important to know that they wrote your third stimulus recon and they claim they're writing a fifth stimulus recon check next year. More about that in a second. Can we top that? Yes, we can. 4 weeks have passed since the president went overseas for a ceremonial signature of the corporate tax rate, but now it's law. It's international law. The global minimum corporate tax rate is now international law. This is huge for forced stimulus. It makes it easier to pass it. Let's go over the analysis. First, when we're talking about the global international corporate tax rate, which is very even hard to say in one breath, it's hard to put in a bill. Imagine how hard it is for me to say it in one breath. It's hard to put in a bill. It's confusing. Now they don't have to put it in the bill. Easier to write it. Easier to call it for a vote. It's not in there. Easier to vote on it. It's not in there. And easier to pass it. It's not in there. Boy, can we top that? We can. As we go into the third and final big update of your forced stimulus check, the final 15, as I call it on this channel, the most important 15 minutes of today's video, I'll be going over everything you need to know about next week. It's so important that you be informed about these events. If you missed any programming over the weekend and you join me on Monday or Tuesday, no worries. Hopefully other viewers who watched over the weekends will update you when the bill is called for a vote, when something is called for a vote on Tuesday, and you may misstate and say, Bill, just like I did, there is no bill going for a vote on Tuesday. Which one? You're going to learn in the final 15 of this video. Incredible great news as we go over voting, drafting, bills, finality, final 14 days, and what you need to know. Then we also cut to fifth stimulus and the raising of your benefits all the way from veterans to SSI and SSDI. It's exciting, great news. But first, here is something more exciting, the volunteers. Now, if you have been in the live chat and you have not posted your success stories of rent, utilities, internet, please post them right now. It serves three purposes. One, it inspires other people to go get it. Because if they see the comments keep on flying, people posting they got it, then they get inspired and say, I think I'll go get it. There's always a person who says, what if I'm not behind on rent? Should I go look? Absolutely, because they all have different eligibility. Number two, someone may say, like yesterday, someone said, I couldn't find any money in Georgia. Someone said, I got money in Georgia. What do you mean? So it helps people. When you talk about things, it helps. That's the spirit of the loving of this community. So post your success story. Second, it inspires people to get multiple items, like Art Sullivan, who got 3 items. Some people maybe get rent and then forget to get SNAP. Just get them all. Number 3, it updates me about numbers. And also number 4, in the case of like unemployment refund checks, it shows other viewers that they come in. Here are the volunteers. If you're having problems finding this money, don't worry. The volunteers are absolutely wonderful. Open this video and go down in the description. In the description is a link to the community page. You'll see an emoji of a house and a link to the community page. It's news.lalate.com/community. Reach out to the volunteers. They can help you with rent, utilities, internet, and SNAP if you try to look for it first and can't find it. Here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons Lalate with big news still about your fourth stimulus check update and fifth stimulus of 2021. I love this video. I always love it. It's just gorgeous. It's shot just a little bit close to where opening credits are on this video. Notice how blue the water is. Just truly It was a great day when I shot that footage. I wish the roll was a little bit longer. But how are you? Boy, in the second half of this video, we go over all the exciting details. Final 15 coming up for stimulus, the vote, the bill, the dates, everything you need to know, when and where. It's coming up in just a second. And then we cut to fifth stimulus as well, which raises your benefits up a lifetime based upon those comments of Jay Powell. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next up, 1 million. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, like the video. Every like helps. You've been doing a great job, but never forget to like the video. It helps in the algorithm ranking. It also delivers a side of parsley. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Let's go right into fifth stimulus. When running for president of the United States, the president of the United States, Biden promised SS200. It didn't happen. And then during the campaign transition time, he said it again, and it didn't happen again. So what did congressional leaders do? They wrote the president a letter, and they said, we're going to take care of it. And they signed it his campaign promises. That's promise now is in fifth stimulus. They're going to raise your benefits up, they said, based upon his promises, add inflationary benchmark, remove the asset limit, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. It's an important distinction because someone had a very interesting chat with me about this on Facebook yesterday. And I said, basically, this is coming from congressional leaders who are citing the president's promises to you. So how does this work? First, who's you? You, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, RB, SSA, or multiple benefits. Under fifth stimulus, they'll first raise your benefits up one big time. This is a fifth stimulus, which would start drafting in the fall, go to a vote around October, November, and then become a law around November. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark, in this case, would be applied shortly thereafter, in about December, for next year's benefits. The benchmark is used to determine how high your benefits go up next year. The benchmark would be new. It would be inflation. Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill this last week and said ostensibly the same thing he said a month earlier. Great news. That the rate of inflation is going up, going up, going up, and it's still going up, and it's going to reach its highest price point around when they apply that benchmark, December. And it'll be what's called transitory, which also means temporary, before it comes back down. Wow. So what's the rate? Wall Street this week confirmed my number and was saying much the same. 5% is what they're looking at for that temporary or transitory number at the end of this year. Well, that means your benefits will be raised up one time, and then they'll apply the benchmark. And if it's 5%, your benefits will be raised up 5%. Not just next year, a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate the year after that is 2%, then you'll be at +2, +5%. Wow. Then they're going to move the asset cap dating back to 1980s law that says you can't work and stay on benefit. That says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away, so you'll be able to have some stimulus checks in your hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry a long-time love interest and no longer fear the marriage penalty. If you're in the live chat, you're wondering, how are all these people getting all these wonderful sums of money and they have a purple hawk emoji next to their name? They are members. Consider becoming a member. The link's under the video where it says join here. By becoming a member, you're delivered daily all the big monies that are available in third stimulus. As I said, I'm getting viewers over $14,000, not just a $14 stimulus check. Consider becoming a member because daily I deliver to you via the YouTube community page all the big monies you can get under third, fourth, and fifth stimulus. The third ones are already going out. And there you go. Let's cut now to our final 15 of fourth stimulus starting right now. Well, now that we have the distinctions of the two items separated very clearly, recon and bipartisan, here is what you need to know. The recon is only your money. The bipartisan is not your money. Let's go over the recon and the exciting great news about what is going on with the recon. Then we'll go to bipartisan, and then we'll go back to recon. First, the recon, as I explained to you earlier in this video, has gotten passed for the price tag. The price tag will be $3.5 trillion. By agreeing upon the price tag, two major events occurred. Number one, it is the first and major step to getting a recon done, is agreeing upon the price. Tim Kaine said, hey, after this, it's just sort of easy. You just slide the numbers into the different provisions. So once you agree upon the price tag, it's huge. Second, the price tag itself of $3.5 trillion is so enormous, it's wonderful. Bernie Sanders called it a historic day in the U.S. country, in the U.S. government. Chuck Schumer praised it. Jalopal praised it. The Progressive praised it. Why? Because Bernie Sanders was asking for $6 trillion, but he said, I can do 3.5. I'm just using the same programs, just less years. Now, what's important for you to understand is the reason they call recon a social reform stimulus package is because it's checks for the American people. All the recon is $3.5 trillion of checks for you. It's not checks for someone else. It's not checks to fix a pothole. It's checks for you. And what are those checks? Well, the Democrats will not show you what the $3.5 trillion checks are being spent on. But a conservative publication in an article to sort of trash talk the recon wrote about some of the provisions in the recon. Just some. This is not an exhaustive list. And the items mentioned are wonderful. It shows that the recon will have money for nearly every walk of life in there for that $3.5 trillion. Lots of checks for lots of different people. In fact, I heard no group of people left out. So, free school meals for all. Checks. Tax break, checks. Cheaper prescription medication, checks. Immigration reform, checks. Greener farming, checks. Money for elections, checks. Internet, checks. They're going to dedicate fortunes to the local cities so you can have free internet. Then clean energy, checks. Then workers, checks. Lots of it. And then Medicare expansion checks, seniors checks, dental checks, vision checks, and hearing care checks. Lots of checks, $3.5 trillion of them. Now, let's go over to the bipartisan. The bipartisan has zero in there for you because it's roads and bridges. It's no checks from the American people. It's things to fix the country's grounds, bridges, and roads. So it's nothing for us. What's important for us for the bipartisan is when is it getting done? The time element. Why? Here's what's at issue. Everyone agrees that the recon has to be called for a vote before or concurrently, meaning at the same time as the bipartisan. You can't call the recon for a vote in July and then wait all the way to September for the bipartisan. So that's why the recon was not called for a vote on July 4th, because the bipartisan was not ready. Well, here's the great news, is the bipartisan may be ready this week. The bipartisan got an informal agreement among its negotiators to agree upon the deal provisions by last Thursday to work over the weekend on the remaining provisions over the weekend and get it ready for bill format this week with a potential vote this week. What do I think about the timeline for the bipartisan vote and bill finality? I don't think it's going to be this week. I think it's going to be the next week. I think that's a little bit too wishful. Broadcast media sort of agrees with me. They don't think it can get done this week. But here's what's great news, is that if they get the bipartisan ready for a vote next week, then that means the recon could be voted on this week. Yes, remember, the recon goes first, and then you do the bipartisan. So what is happening this week? Now, here is where I will implore that people really, if they do not know what they're talking about, really zip it. Did I say that rudely? I think I did, but I don't care. This coming week, there's going to be so many events happening that if all you hear is the word bill, vote, not passed, it's just so easy to come into a live chat and say, I heard they didn't pass the stimulus checks on Tuesday. They voted and they didn't vote on the stimulus checks and it didn't pass. There was no vote on a bill on Tuesday, and it wasn't the bill about the stimulus checks. And in fact, it wasn't even a vote on a bill. I mean, I literally can just envision the multitude of false narratives or people who don't want to listen to the whole story and simply litter into live chats. Now, understand, the live chats on this channel are open to non-members. So if you're not a member, please respect the members who take the time to learn about what's going on, and do not jump into the live chat and just post silly nonsense, because it's really, I don't want to lock out the room to just members only, but it is really disconcerting when people don't know what they're talking about or don't want to take the time to know what they're talking about and literally just litter the room with complete nonsense. And I'm going to be preparing you right now for the nonsense starting on Tuesday. On Tuesday, there is a vote. What is the vote for? It's a vote for a cloture of the bipartisan. What is a cloture? It's not a vote on the bipartisan bill. There is no bipartisan bill ready for a vote yet. It's a vote to end discussion on the bipartisan negotiations. Again, it's a vote to end talking about the bipartisan. It's not a vote on the bipartisan bill. It is only a vote to end talking about the bipartisan. Will it pass? Absolutely not. I don't think it'll pass because it doesn't have bipartisan support. You're telling bipartisan people, zip it, stop talking. And they can say, no, we want to continue talking. Vote against. Yeah. So it's not going to pass. So you need to understand that's what Tuesday is. Wednesday, there is no vote on Wednesday. Chuck Schumer is having meetings about the recall on Wednesday, but no vote on the recall on Wednesday. Next, it's important to know that when we do stimulus packages, they always have an element of surprise. They also always have an element of change. When we were in December of 2020, and there was no stimulus in this country, we couldn't see that second stimulus get done. Everyone had tried every idea they could. I came up with the idea only on this channel from me to put stimulus in the CR. We changed American history by coming up with the idea of putting stimulus in CR. I came up with the idea and you went on social media and pushed. No one thought that I had my brain screwed on correctly. Who put stimulus in a budget bill? Who put stimulus in a budget bill? It's the budget for the government. Well, I said, I don't care, put it in there. And we did. And they came to an agreement that they liked it. They put unemployment stimulus in there. Guess what? When we saw that they put unemployment stimulus in there, some people went negative. My viewers didn't. We said, no, that's not what we asked for. We asked for stimulus checks. We like that the unemployment's in there, but we asked for stimulus check, and we pushed back. So remember, it was not in there, stimulus checks, under the CR, and we had to push back. And it took about 7 days of pushing. And there were times in which the numbers went up. There were times that the numbers went down. They were changing all over the place. And there were times that Toomey, Senator Toomey said, the whole thing is going to blow up by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're not going to pass anything. So there are times in which the whole thing looked like it was about to blow up. We got it, and we got it done. So when you get into these final 14 days, I need you to know this. Number one, there'll be times and hours in which you think the entire recon will never pass. It may look like a dire situation. Oh, the recon's not going to pass because the bipartisan's having this problem. You could certainly sit back and say, you know, be as negative as you want to be, because there'll always be a time that things look bleak when you're doing voting. Number two, there's always going to be a time in which you're not going to hear something from legislators because they're drafting and getting things ready. And there'll always be times where they potentially put something in there and we need to push and modify a number. And then finally, we have the real confusion of the fact that we have a bipartisan roads and bridges infrastructure thing over here that some people will really get confused and talk about that one. And then we have our recon over here. And to make it even worse, some of the biggest broadcast media, some of the ones I watch every morning, I turn on, they're getting the two bills confused day in, day out, referring to this one with this pay for and that one with that pay for. Finally, this coming week, the Congressional Budget Office will be releasing a report about the bipartisan. It will be a report talking about how much it costs to pass the bipartisan, how much debt will be put into the national debt because of it. Yeah, it's just sort of a silver platter for some Republicans who hate to talk about raising the national debt. But Mitt Romney, who is a former head of Bain Capital, just sold his house in San Diego for $23 million. Yeah, he's from that other state, isn't he? Yeah, he's that other state, but then the other state, and then was Boston. So this is another state, California, just over $23 million. It's in the New York Post. He says, I'm not worried about the Congressional Budget Office. So I'm not worried either. I'm not worried. If Mitt is not worried, I'm not worried. There's a Mitt Romney plan for everything. And if there's a Mitt Romney plan for positivity, then we love it too. Coming up next is Evenings Allied. I'll have more exciting details on that as well. But for now, here's what you need to know, is that by all accounts, it looks like the recon could get a vote as early as this week. If it's not this week, then it will certainly be the next week. When we get a vote, we're going to get a bill. When we see the bill, we need to push. You have to push Purple Power. I don't have enough time in this recording to go over the pushing. I'll go over it on Evenings LA. And as we go into those final 14 days of pushing, you got to push very hard. And with that, subscribe. A 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member so you get access to all that incredible money under third stimulus. Coming up next is Evenings LA. This video will take you automatically there. It's a new show tonight. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.